now, this is awkward. Well, not as awkward as walking in on YouTube order fucking himself. But awkward enough to see the irony of this video. In all the videos I've been posting on the Goodbye PlayStation 3 series, I showed the game for one final time before putting it away. However, with Ghost, I still have a bunch of content to post. So this really isn't a goodbye yet. But that's just the way it's going to work up in this motherfucker. Now, I wasn't going to delay Call of Duty any further, and I certainly wasn't going to make this the last video in the series because it doesn't deserve that honor. Instead, Ghost will just have to be the odd motherfucker out of this group. You know, in a way, it kind of fits because another oddity about this game is that I didn't play it one more time. Nope, didn't even need to. All the other games in this series needed me to play one last time for footage. I needed to play Need for Speed, MLB The Show, Resistance, World of Green and Brown at War. But with Ghost, I have enough footage for the series. I have plenty of games that I thought at some point I'd be posting, but then the Goodbye PlayStation 3 series took over and basically left me with a shitload of videos that I'll probably never get to. So this really isn't a goodbye like all the other games, but either way, it's going to get the goodbye treatment. We're going to call it a day. Now, as many of you know, I never purchased this game. I skipped out on Black Ops 2 as promised, and when the reveal for Ghost came around, my reaction was, meh. That's it. It looked like it had some decent things and a ton of shit that would annoy me, like the fucking guard dog. Why? Why is it always the fucking dogs that piss me off, man? But in any event, I wasn't impressed enough to spend money on this bullshit. However, a subscriber of mine got me the hookup with a free voucher in the game. Of course, I didn't believe the motherfucker. But eventually, the game arrived, and obviously, I played this motherfucker. Now, had the voucher not arrived, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to buy this game. I would have been perfectly content skipping this joint. Now, as for the game itself, I've made my opinions known throughout the course of the past 10 months or so. Ghost was an average game. That's it. It was a safe, generic game that introduced a few new elements, improved on certain things we've been asking for, but ultimately didn't change the genre much other than adding some small nuances to the game that people are not too willing to praise. It also has the tough task of being the first Call of Duty game on the newest generation of consoles, while also maintaining a game on the older consoles. Like the last time we switched console generations, the first-year games, all during that initial launch window, are rarely great, particularly games that have to span across the two generations, whether it's Ghost, Battlefield, Need for Speed, Madden, FIFA, whatever. All the games go through their share of growing pains in the first year, and almost all of them have to cut corners to be able to get a game on all these platforms. The game is no Call of Duty 4, but at the same time, it's not World at War, Modern Warfare 3. It's not horrible by any measure, but the problem that any Call of Duty faces is that just being average doesn't cut it anymore. For a franchise that sells 20 million copies per year, just being average means that you're a failure to the general public. And here's the best way to prove that theory. Last week, I posted 5 Call of Duty videos, 4 of them being ripped apart for all their stupid shit. Now, go and look at the comment section of each video. Just look at them all. Every single one, and look at what people say. This is my favorite Call of Duty game. This game is horrible. This is the worst Call of Duty ever. Best Call of Duty ever. I hated this game. I raged in this game. I had more fun in this game. There is very little in between. If you were to rate each Call of Duty game 1 to 10, what do you think the scores are going to look like? Honestly, how many scores do you think will be at the extreme end of the scorecard compared to in the middle? Call of Duty 4 is going to be all 9s and 10s. World at War is either going to be 1s and 2s or 8s, 9s, and 10s. Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, you're bound to see high numbers and you're bound to see low numbers. But how many numbers will actually be in the middle? How many 4, 5, 6s, and 7s are you going to see? I will guarantee you, you would see less 5s in a game than perfect scores or horrible scores. Call of Duty games do not have a middle ground because little kids either love something or they hate it. If Modern Warfare 2 wasn't like Call of Duty 4, it was hated. If Black Ops 2 wasn't like Modern Warfare 2, it was hated. If Modern Warfare 3 wasn't like Black Ops 1, it was hated. This has been the same cycle for 6 fucking years now. If people didn't love Ghost, it was seen as a failure because Call of Duty players are fucking idiots. Plain and simple. I hated Black Ops 1 with a passion, and I would never play it again. It's my least favorite Call of Duty in the series, yet I would say it's better than World at War. World at War was an awfully made game, but there is no way in hell I would rate the quality higher than Black Ops 1. There is no way in hell if I had to give it a score, I would rate it higher than Black Ops 1. But I sure as fuck put Black Ops 1 on the bottom of my shit list of games to play. So this bullshit that Ghost is the worst Call of Duty ever is just because it wasn't kids' favorite and it's beyond full of shit. Ghost was an average game. It wasn't a 9 or 10, and it certainly wasn't a 0, 1, or 2. It's a middle-of-the-pack game. It's an average game that managed to fix a number of problems in the past years and create its own share of issues like every other game before it. Coming into this game, I was expecting to hate this shit as much as Modern Warfare 3. I fully expected to play it for like a week and leave it like I did in Black Ops 1, but in playing it all the way to the final rank, it has its ups and downs, and essentially, it isn't anything special or horrible. It's exactly what I've said in my very first video. An average game. I'm not one to defend Call of Duty. You saw that last week of me tearing into 4 games after Call of Duty 4. They all have their share of massive fuck-ups, yet Ghost doesn't have anything remotely close to the number of massive fuck-ups from the other games. Ghost's biggest problem is the worst kill streak to date. That's really it. Other than that, they made a boring vanilla game, and to people, it still sucked. They actually did a few things differently, which I'm going to get to in a minute, and it still sucked. So it makes you wonder, what the fuck does Call of Duty have to do to please people these days? Well, other than adding exosuits with jetpacks and adding future bullshit that never exists. We know they will never get a new engine. They're just going to keep upgrading the one they have and calling it new each year. We know the graphics are never going to match Battlefield, and the gameplay is never going to be realistic. So outside of those things, what the fuck else are they going to do? Other than dipping into the future warfare with shit like Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare, what options does Call of Duty really have these days? It's either going to be a modern shooting era game, it's going to be a historic wartime piece like World War II or the Cold War, or they're going to go into the future like Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare, although I do want the medieval warfare game. Ghost stood in the same time frame, yet they got ripped for not changing. It makes no fucking sense at all. Just look at the number of things that did change in this game, and I'll start with the campaign. Finally, no more Modern Warfare stories with Soap or Price, and getting away from that narrative, we have no more Russians, Chinese, or communists. You know, holy fuck, man. Does it seem like every fucking Call of Duty had Russians as the enemy? Or are you using them in a world at war? This game, no Russians at all. They went with an alternate universe type deal, getting away from plot lines from prior Infinity War games. We have a new bullshit enemy, all of South America, and they managed to become just as powerful as the United States. Yes, this is a steaming pile of bullshit, but it's something different from the Modern Warfare series. The gameplay, of course, is the same old stale shit, moving from one firefight to another. Drive a vehicle around every now and then and kill some shit. Throw in a stealth mission, make it seem like they're doing something unique, and you have the same formula that Infinity Ward has followed for fucking years now. As for the AI, the common complaint in all Call of Duty games is how stupid the AI really is. However, for the first time in any Call of Duty, the difficulty actually changes the tactics of the enemies. In prior Call of Duty games, jacking up the difficulty increased two things: their reaction time and their accuracy. That's it. Enemies reacted to you quicker, and their shots hit you more often. But at no point did they change their tactics. They still stood out in the open without cover like idiots. They still advanced on you if they were being shot at. They hid behind cover in the same exact way each and every time. But Ghost actually improved on that. Jack up the difficulty, and you'll see that now they will flank you more often. They advance from cover to cover this time instead of just running directly at you. They react to your bullets when you shoot at them. Granted, this isn't the best enemy AI in any game to date, but it's a big improvement from what we've seen in Call of Duty AI. That still doesn't change the fact the story was implausible, but hey, fuck it, that's baby steps in the right direction. Co-op also received some changes compared to Modern Warfare 3, and for the most part, they were improvements. First thing was increasing the modes to 4 players, which was something it desperately needed. Their survival mode was the same shit, they just changed the name to Safeguard or whatever the fuck it is, and this time, they put a wave limit in so it actually has an end. Again, it's an improvement, not a major improvement, but it's a step in the right direction. Extinction was added as their version of zombies, and for the most part, it was functional. Monotonous, just like zombies, but in a party, you could have a good time with it. It was more in line with Black Ops 2's version of the zombie story shit that they had with all the Easter eggs and crap than the traditional endless wave bullshit. The classes were a bit unnecessary since you only needed a few abilities and whatnot, but in adding aliens, it's a brand new mode, completely separate from everything else that makes no goddamn sense at all. But it gives 4 people the chance to shoot monsters in the fucking face. The content is better than the endless waves of enemies or zombies, and the objectives you need to complete offer you a chance to do things other than just shooting an LMG all game long. Squads mode, although it got its own video, was just another version of Combat Zone with bots, but this time around, they tied that to your multiplayer character, where all the XP you earned was counted towards ranking up your characters. Now, when they announced this shit before the game released, they made it sound like you would have the full multiplayer experience in Squads mode, but in reality, it was a dumbed down version of the normal game since most of the modes were missing or unavailable. You could challenge other people's squads, but the bullshit was that no matter how much you ranked up and no matter how high level characters you had, there was no rhyme or reason as to why they all played like shit. I remember having a team of all level 60 characters on my side, and they sucked. I remember playing against low-level friends, and my teams were all level 60 characters, and the low-level motherfuckers beat my group of idiots. It made no goddamn sense whatsoever. But ultimately, what did people come to Call of Duty to play? Multiplayer. Now, before Ghost released, I said this was going to be the laggiest game in the entire series, and I was dead wrong. Shit, it's probably one of the most stable games in the series on PlayStation 3. And as much as I like to bitch and complain about lag, I didn't get lag killed by it nearly as often as other games. Ghost ran fairly smooth if you didn't live in a remote part of the world where your internet was powered by a hamster wheel. Lag compensation was negligible, hosting and losing connection wasn't an issue. I know Infinity Ward bragged about that dedicated cloud server bullshit or whatever the fuck it was, but regardless, the game improved stability. This isn't Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 1 we're talking about. I can count on one hand the number of times I disconnected from a server in the game or got booted from a room. So the stability of the game has been steady from day one. The game finally got back to being fair based on your connection. People like me who have a decent connection finally weren't penalized because others had shitty connections. Instantly, this is a major improvement, something that was missing from the game for years. Absolutely the best improvement Call of Duty has made to date on a console. Unfortunately, PC players still got shafted. This game was Black Ops 1 level unplayable on a PlayStation 3 for them on PC. Much like Black Ops 1, you can't say something is a decent game if one platform gets an extremely shitty version of the game and the PC version continually gets fucked over by Infinity Ward. It was that shitty. And considering this franchise started on PC, you can understand their frustration because the one platform that the game should properly run on runs like shit. Instead, Infinity Ward shows up their competence once again with another horrible PC job, and the PC players have a right to be pissed at this game once again. It makes you wonder, how the fuck did they manage massive connection improvements for the console, yet PC got screwed out again? No, really, how do you fix the PlayStation 3 version of the game and all other versions of the game, yet PC is still a wretched piece of shit? It makes no sense, and it shows Infinity Ward is still incompetent. You know, part of the reason for the performance improvement was the removal of theater mode. Although it's a great feature and allowed people to make all these cool montages and shit, but the community suspected this from the start of Black Ops 1, but with the additional lag, it had to be attributed to theater mode. Some people personally turned it off, but as much as Treyarch said it wasn't a factor, Mark Rubin all but confirmed it was a factor when Ghost released. He was honest when asked why theater mode wasn't in the game, and he said it affects the performance of the game. When asked the follow-up question, he said the issues they had with Modern Warfare 3 was the amount of data feeding into the servers to have 12 to 18 people in a room, since it had to record every single person's data. Now, I said this in a video years ago, but I'd much rather sacrifice features for performance any day. I like theater mode, but if removing it from the game improves the performance, I much rather have a game that functions as opposed to a pretty looking game. Think of it like this. You have a chance to sleep with two different women. One is a model looking chick who is terrible in bed. The other's a decent looking girl that's amazing in bed. You can't have both, and you won't find a model that's amazing between the sheets. So who do you choose? Me? I go for the decent looking chick who isn't a lazy fucking just wants to lay there. Yeah, the model's nice to look at, but she's not functional. I want function, not aesthetics. Removing theater mode made the game functional. The perk system for your classes also changed in concept. Last year around this exact same time, I was going through the Blueprint series, releasing ideas on how it fixed Call of Duty. One of the things I said was removing the tiers of perks. Why restrict yourself? Why bottle all the shit up into sections at this point? Ghost, remove the tiers, something I personally appreciated, and I felt like suing them over because they stole my idea. But the system works fine as long as the perks themselves are balanced. You have a shitload of ways to build your character. You have the modified pick 10 system that Black Ops 2 introduced, although the shit is more like a pick 12 system, and you can set up however many ways you want it. No more having to choose between sleight of hand, scavenger, and marathon. Now you can have all three. No longer do you have to worry about one perk in a tier outclassing the others and being pigeonholed into a limited number of setups. People complained about the map being confusing, but it wasn't that fucking hard to understand. The game even offered a picture box to show you how many perks you can have, and they even color-coded that shit for kids, but obviously, this fucking generation is just goddamn useless. They can't count to fucking 12 in this motherfucker. Now, I can understand a few beefs with the point value of some of the perks, but overall, the system was the most non-restrictive created class this game has ever created. You had the 10 soldier shit that replaced prestige, and the knock on that was that you couldn't switch soldiers mid-match and whatnot, and you were only stuck to the 6 classes, whatever. Either way, it was something different compared to the prior Call of Duty games. The prestige system was essentially gone. Now you just rank up your different soldiers to your heart's content. You are no longer stuck in 4th prestige or 6th prestige. Now you can have any number of active characters you want. Prestiging wasn't an ongoing persistent rank up system. Now you had a changing variable that we had never seen in a Call of Duty game before. Unfortunately, unlocking everything came with squad points, which was an improved version of Call of Duty points from Black Ops 1, but still fucking annoying, man. I know why they needed it, because they wanted a free-flowing perk system and gum system without the traditional ranking up to unlock shit, but it was just as annoying to have to buy everything. You know, it was needed to buy things early, like a perk you wanted to use at low levels, but you only unlocked it at level 40 or whatever the fuck it was. It wasn't perfect, but it was necessary. It had a purpose, unlike Call of Duty points that were basically a second layer of restrictions on your loadout. I would have preferred not to have squad points and rather just unlock shit as we go along, but the game at least put a risk-reward factor on them if you chose to unlock certain items early. Call of Duty points were useless in Black Ops 1, and squad points here are one step above useless. I don't like either idea. But if a gun was put to my head and I had to choose between the two, squad points was a more flexible system to use. But fact is, they still both suck. To me though, the best addition in this game was Cranked. I've said it plenty of times and I will say it one last time. Cranked is by far and away my most favorite game mode to play. You won't find too many kill-death ratio whores playing it. You won't find too many corner campers playing it. They are playing it, but certainly not to the extent of other game modes. You'll mainly find running gunners in fast-paced matches for more XP. It was an excellent addition to the game and hopefully becomes a mainstay in the series as they get more people into playing it because it was fucking worth it. Now, as much as I'm praising this game, it has a shitload of flaws like we all know about. The guard dog is by far and away worst kill streak ever introduced in this game. And this isn't even debatable at this point. This is the only infinite AI controlled lethal kill streak Call of Duty has ever had. Ever. All lethal shit will go away at some point after using it. Things like the Maniac or Juggernaut, those are user controlled where you need to get the kills yourself. But the fucking guard dog works on its own. He attacks people after they kill you. He warns you when enemies are near. He takes more bullets than a fucking human to kill. In Treyarch games, the lowest number kill streak where you got your pack of dogs was 7. Here, you get 1 dog for an entire game as long as the motherfucker doesn't die after 5 kills. This is total fucking bullshit. Now, outside of this guard dog, the rest of this stupid shit is comparably minor. Off the Grid took a step backwards compared to the change in Black Ops 2 made with Ghost. You had to move around in Black Ops 2 for Ghost not to be seen on the map. In this game, you can sit in the corner all you want with Off the Grid. Had they copied Treyarch and what they did in Black Ops 2, it wouldn't have been as bad, but now you're just encouraging kids to sit in the corner all over again. As much as I love using the gun, the Honey Badger has a built-in silencer, which makes it the best economical gun to use. It allows you 3 attachments and even up to 4 attachments if you select the perk for it, like the K7 SMG and some of the other guns that had their own built-in attachment. Just from a mat standpoint, not even the advantage of the gun, from a mat standpoint, it has a built-in advantage. Why were some guns given an advantage and others weren't? Who the fuck knows? But you know what? If you're going to give a gun a major advantage, that's the one people are going to use. Carrot Pussy returns, but at least you had to do something to earn your box from the sky. However, they threw a fucking chem strike in it for Strike Zone, which was the stupidest fucking thing you could do. You know, these dynamic maps aren't really fucking dynamic. Other than Strike Zone and maybe a touch of Freefall, what the fuck changes? Ooh, a tree falls on Prison Break. Ooh, a gas station falls on Octane the same way each and every time. Watch out, Battlefield. Call of Duty is changing their environments one broken window at a time. Come on, man. This shit ain't fucking dynamic. Look, I can go on and on like all the prior games, but obviously, I've done enough videos on the subject. Personally, I think Ghost caught a little bit more flack than necessary, considering they did make changes to the game. Well, aside from the shitty PC version of the game, because that shit is absolutely fucked. The running joke is that Call of Duty never changes, but just look at the 3 most recent games when you include Advanced Warfare. The games have changed. Black Ops 2 had multiple endings in their campaign, as well as the strike missions. Ghost went with a new enemy that weren't Russians or communists, and completely removed the tiers for the perks, and the prestige system changed. Advanced Warfare is going with private contractors run by Kevin Spacey in the distant future with all that bullshit Exo says, whatever, fuck, I ain't gonna worry about this shit. Multiplayer for Black Ops 2 changed. Ghost only kept the decent things from Modern Warfare 3 with the strike chains and the rewards for objectives and whatnot, but otherwise changed a very large portion of the multiplayer, even down to the menus, the scoreboards, and how the fucking UAV works. No more flying UAV in the sky, now you gotta put a damn satellite on the fucking floor. This essentially is an average game that performed well on consoles for the first time in years, yet it absolutely bombed on PC. But it seems to be unfairly labeled a copied game this time around when that's clearly not the case. The biggest flaw with Ghost is that they played it safe. It didn't do anything over the top stupid like prior games, so people had nothing to complain about on that end. And since the only true legitimate complaint is the guard dog this time around, it's labeled as boring, bland, dull. Personally, by the time I finished ranking up in this game, I had my fill of it. It wasn't terrible. It's certainly not the worst Call of Duty ever. It was just an average game that held me over for a few months. No different than playing other games that were entertaining and ran their course. Personally, I'm glad I didn't buy the game because it played well enough to keep me entertained, but probably would have been worth the $60 the motherfucker cost. I like some of the things they did. Some of the shit annoyed me, but the fact that the game didn't lag this time around was the only thing that made me believe Call of Duty might actually get back on track one day. Now, as for future games, I've already said that I'm not getting Advanced Warfare. I kept an open mind about Sledgehammer games. I know Modern Warfare 3 wasn't their fault, and they inherited a shitty situation like I said on Friday. I wanted to see what they were offering this year and make my determination off of that. But the futuristic Crisis exosuit bullshit is not my flavor of gaming. I'd rather have something grounded for Call of Duty than a science fiction game. Just look at the number of sci-fi multiplayers I've skipped. Crisis, Resistance, hated Killzone, Bioshock. It's not my flavor of gaming. After Advanced Warfare is going to probably be Black Ops 3 or whatever the fuck the next Treyarch game is going to be. And as I said last week, I'm never buying a product from those lying cum buckets again. Absolutely not. So the horizon for Call of Duty for me is very bleak. The next possible game I would even consider would be Ghost 2, and I want to see that ahead of time before even considering. Oh, hell fucking no. After not paying for this bullshit, there is no way in hell I would pay for Ghost 2 if it follows this exact same path. Overall, I had my fun with the Call of Duty series, but it's worn down on me. Even though I can't say it's the same shit every year anymore because they are making some changes, it's some of the changes that they're making that are unappealing to me. Either way, I have 2 years off from Call of Duty, and I'll be using other material from other games that will pass my time because I damn sure do not want to play this shit much longer. Anyways, the final Call of Duty game is finally complete. However, as I mentioned, there is still some more Ghost footage that's going to be coming in other videos. Now, because of how I had to break up the Call of Duty videos last week, the remaining 4 videos this week will be something completely separate from a first-person shooter. Tomorrow's video alone comes from a company in which I equally loathe as much as Treyarch, and anyone that has been around my channel long enough knows who I'm about to explode on tomorrow. So that alone is going to be 15 minutes worth of entertainment. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.